Pickle, let's go to the hotline. We are always expanding here at Dave Campbell's Texas Football, and our latest venture has been the Republic of Football Podcast Network, with podcasts scattered hither, scattered yon, across the state of Texas. And we have recently added to the Dave Campbell's Texas Football family a Texas State podcast. And here to talk a little bit about Texas State is the co-host of Squarin Around, the Texas State podcast on the Republic of Football Podcast Network. We're pleased to be joined by Jakob Rodriguez. Jakob, how are you?
What's up, guys? Thanks for that intro. That was awesome.
Well, listen.
A star is born in San Marcos.
How about that? Yeah, well, we are pleased to have you on. We're pleased to welcome you into the Dave Campbell's Texas Football crew, and we're excited to talk about Texas State. You know, there's been a ton of buzz, I think, around the Bobcats this offseason, most notably because of the hiring of G.J. Kinney to take over there with the Bobcats. I'm interested, you're really tuned in. There's few people as clued in on Texas State football as you are. What has been the overall reaction of the fan base now a couple of months into G.J. Kinney's tenure?
I'll tell you how plugged in we are. I was scrolling through our feed. We have UT tonight for baseball, so everybody's super stoked, throwing horns down. So that's a whole different story. The algorithm thinks I'm a coach or something, so I keep getting ads for all these athletic equipment. I'm like, hey, what's going on? But Take Back Texas has been another world, basically. I think I speak for everybody. That's an alum, that's a former player, that's a Bobcat in general. Is like, whoa, what is this? It's like a meteor exploded in San Marcos. It's all this football goodness that is really just like an everyday thing. There's something to talk about.
So, let's talk a little bit about the past, because Jake Spavital, is fired after his tenure there at with the Bobcats. It didn't go as well as they had hoped. He bet big on transfers. He bet big on the transfer portal. And in the end, it ended up, I don't want to say that directly cost him his job, but he's out of a job now. For G.J. Kinney, now he appears to be focusing more on kind of the recruiting world in the high school ranks. How do you view that kind of shift going right now? And I'm interested in what kind of differences you can tell between the recruiting messages of Jake Spavital versus G.J. Kinney.
Yeah, for sure. Actually, on the Republic of Football, we just did a whole episode on all this stuff. So that's great. You can watch it now, streaming on all platforms. But I think the biggest difference, and it's not like they just have high school football players. There's a ton of guys in the transfer portal that we've gotten to flip back to Texas State with that Take Back Texas, whole thing. Just getting these guys that have Texas roots, that have, they played Texas high school football. They know kind of what it's all about. Really, all the guys that you guys would want to cover, because that's all what you guys are about too. So, yeah, I mean, it's crazy because I guess it's not like a super huge, like out of this world idea to bring back Texas-born, Texas-raised product, but he's the one that did it, and he's getting a bunch of what feels like new institutional support around him. We just hired what he's calling himself is the oldest graduate assistant in the country, David Bailiff, former coach. He was there with us when we won a bunch of stuff. So it feels weird. It feels oddly nostalgic, I want to say.
Talking with Jakob Rodriguez, the co-host of Squarin Around here on Texas Football Today. Get involved in the conversation, hashtag TF Today. All right, one of the guys that I know has people buzzing is Malik Hornsby. He's a perfect kind of embodiment of what you were just talking about, a Texas high school football product that is now transferring back to the state of Texas after a stint there at Arkansas. I think it's fair to say that the quarterback situation at Texas State has been an adventure the past couple of years. Is there hope among the Bobcat faithful that Malik Hornsby could be the answer there under center for the Bobcats?
Yes, and I'm here to put the rumors at rest. I know the coaching staff won't say this. That is our quarterback.
Yeah,
that's our guy. I think, he's a 4-star coming in. Come on, do the math, But yeah, my freshman year, 2016 at Texas State, we had 2 or 3 guys on the roster named Tyler Jones, and they were all quarterbacks. And I was like, what? Is this a factory? This is an insane coincidence going on. And they were all the same level of player, Obviously, that's 2 coaching administrations away from this all now. And we see this guy's highlights. We see this guy's tape on Huddle. We see everybody's, I guess, would you call that, chagrin in Nebraska, kind of jealousy, leaning towards Texas State just grabbing him up. But GJ Kinney recruited him and said, you're going to be the guy, you're going to have an opportunity to play in this style of offense. He led the country in crazy numbers at UIW last year with that offense. And so he's hoping to do the same with Malik, kind of a Lindsey Scott Jr. type player. Yeah.
Yeah, Lindsey Scott Jr., of course, was such a star there at Incarnate Word, and there's ample reason to believe that he can continue that. I want to ask you a little bit about the fan base and just where they are right now. We know that there have been times when Texas State, whenever they've given their fans something to cheer about, they've come out in droves, they've come out in big numbers, and they've been vocal and made San Marcos a tough place to visit. Are you of the opinion that if GJ Kinney can have some early success next year, that suddenly the stadium's going to be rocking and that Texas State has an opportunity to really kind of reestablish themselves as a tough place to play?
Oh, man. Well, I mean, people do forget that Texas State won 2 D2 national titles. I mean, that's a big deal. So there's been super big investment across the board way before my time as a Bobcat. And so now, right, getting this injection of what feels like, such a great atmosphere and, I don't know, just tradition of winning, even though it's not really a tradition yet, but it feels like we're reestablishing all these connections with the Texas High School Coaching Association and different, top, high schools across the country. South Oak Cliff, we were over there all the time this past recruiting cycle, which was like 3 weeks for these guys. But yeah, it feels good to cheer for something that, and I do think that San Marcos is the best college town in the country. It's without question. There's a river running through campus. There's everything that you could want in a place. You can't get that really anywhere else. We talk a lot about UTSA and their great football team. But right now they're kind of in like an arms race trying to, build up all of their facilities. Texas State's got them. We just haven't been able to use them,
I don't want to put you necessarily on the spot, but you take a look at this 2023 schedule, and the Sun Belt is a bear. I would say probably the right now I would say the most dangerous Group of 5 conference out there. This is a program that has not had more than 4 wins since back in 2014 under Dennis Franchione. The schedule's tough, but there's obviously a lot of renewed energy there in San Marcos. For you, what would represent, you don't necessarily need to put a win total on it, although you certainly can. What would represent success for GJ Kinney and this Texas State program in year 1?
Well, so many people are so high on Coach, Texas State as a whole. We have a really involved president, Kelly Danfus. He's gone on the record and said 13-0. Now, my prediction for the season is not 13-0. Do I think there are some games that are going to be very hard? Absolutely. This is the Sun Belt. Sun Belt, #FunBelt football is really tough. So, yeah, that's kind of, I don't know. I think what would make everybody happy and immediately be like, wow, Texas State's training in the right direction, is being bowl eligible. Obviously, having a bowl win and getting invited to a bowl would be amazing, too.
Finally, it's Jacob Rodriguez, co-host of Squarin' Around on the Republican Football Podcast Network. Jacob, we were having a debate before we came on, and we need you to settle this. The podcast is called Squarin' Around. It's an excellent podcast for Texas State fans and non-Texas State fans alike. What is the origin behind the name Squarin' Around?
It's kind of like screwing around, except it's with the square. The square is Texas State's bar scene.
Let's go! I was
right down the hill from campus. So yeah, squaring around.
I've been out. I went to the square twice this year. It's fantastic. I knew it.
And now part of it is that you and I were talking before you came on. I know you're excited about the baseball team and stuff like that. I thought it was like squaring around a bunt. So now I'm just caught. Okay.
Yeah, man. We had a lot of great time out there. We actually just had Brian London, former Texas State. He's an all-time tackle leader, and he had a great time at the square with us one time. So we had a great time out there.
He's Jacob Rodriguez. He's the co-host of Squarin' Around, which you can listen to on the Republic of Football Podcast Network. Jacob, we sure appreciate your time. Thanks for your insights, and look forward to hearing you on the next episode of Squarin' Around.
Appreciate y'all. Thanks again.
There he goes. Jacob Rodriguez,
Boom.
head coach the
former future head coach.
The co-host of Squarin Around on the Republic of Football podcast network. It is a good listen. If you are interested in really, first of all, obviously, if you're a Texas State fan, you should listen to that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if you're not, even if you're just like a fan of football in the state of Texas, Texas State is such an interesting like case study of. They are in many ways like the quintessential Texas Group of 5 program, and because they're still relatively in their infancy. I mean, they only joined the FBS ranks in 2012,
mm-hmm.
right? They are still building. They're still trying to find that right piece. They are, in many respects, they have followed the path that most young FBS programs follow.
Mm-hmm.
UTSA is kind of the outlier. UTSA, which also started in 2012, their success is kind of an outlier. They're trying to find it, and I think that bringing a guy like G.J. Kinney,
mm-hmm.
a Texas guy who wants to, in many respects, follow the blueprint of Jeff Traylor, Joey McGuire, those types of guys who have recruited local, they're trying to do that. He obviously had a ton of success at Incarnate Word.
Right.
It is going to be really interesting. I don't know if I want to say this because I'm certainly interested in every program, but I will be paying very special attention
mm-hmm.
to Texas State this year.
Well, and the other thing is, too, if you want to talk about, like, offense sells.
Yeah.
We know that, and that's G.J. Kinney's backbone. That's exactly what he did at Incarnate Word to get so many people interested. And I really liked what Jacob said about, I never really thought about it that way. Obviously, them being in especially the same recruiting territory as UTSA and the rivalry aspect that goes on there, he is right. When they do have the facilities built already,
mm-hmm.
I mean, if you've been down there around campus and have been to any of their facilities to watch a game, they're really nice. So if they start having some flashy success, there's no telling what could start like any sort of tide shifting from there.
I mean, this was a team. G.J. Kinney's team led all of FCS last year with 51.5 points per game. And if you give Texas State fans
something to go cheer
entertaining brand of football,
oh yeah,
they're going to roll out there.
Because I mean, you go out there too. The tailgate scene is popping. All you have to do is play flashy football to
mm-hmm.
get them inside, and that's
mm-hmm.
going to be a really hostile place to play.
They're gonna put up. I mean, their goal is to play an exciting brand of football,
mm-hmm.
and
he can deliver.
They've got
that.
the guy in G.J. Kinney to do that, and maybe they got the guy Malik Hornsby to be that. You
mm-hmm.
know, Jacob mentioned he goes. You know, the coaches won't say it, but he's going to be their starting quarterback.
Oh, yeah.
I tend to agree.
Yeah, if we watched high school football and said that's kind of one of those guys that rules,
he led Fort Bend Marshall to a pair of state championship games. I think that's exactly right. And so I'm very, very intrigued to see exactly how this all shakes out there at Texas State. They're going to be one of the teams I'm really closely following in the 2023 season. I think they have an opportunity to be one of the most exciting teams in Texas. And so make sure you listen to Squarin Around, the podcast on the Republic of Football podcast network. We appreciate Jacob Rodriguez.
Thanks so much for watching that video. If you would like more and to be notified when they come out, go ahead and click that subscribe button right down there. You can also watch Texas Football Today every day live at noon on TexasFootball.com, Facebook, Twitch, and right here on YouTube. For more of the best coverage of Texas football in the Lone Star State, go to TexasFootball.com/subscribe.